Fella lying in the hospital. This fella lying in the hospital, he's in intensive care. He's not well. If he was well, he wouldn't be in intensive care. We say some obvious things, don't we? But he's lying there and he's not well, and he's got pipes and tubes and whatnot coming out of him, and he's lying there in oxygen. And then the day staff have gone off, and the night staff have just come on around this time of the night, and the night nurse, she's in, she's around, just checking the tubes, just checking the dials and checking the screens and all this here. And your man's lying back watching her. And she's going around. The next thing he says to her, he says, pardon me laughing, I heard it before. He says, I'm a testicle block. She says, what? He says, I'm a testicle block. She says, I don't know. I'm a testicle block. She said, I'll have a look. So she pulled down the blanket, she had a wee look. And she says, no, they're not. And he pulled the mask off. He says, are my test results back? What that has to do with love, I don't know. But years ago, ladies and gentlemen, years ago, back in the old days, back years ago, you know, people used to get married before they did anything. Isn't that right? Or am I the only gobshite in the country? Don't tell me that. You's all at it. But this couple got married years ago, and I mean years and years ago, and they went off on the honeymoon, and God, they were innocent. Oh, they were that innocent, the two of them. And they arrived at the honeymoon with a hotel and all. They went up to the honeymoon suite, like it was a bedroom, it was a suite. And the two of them, they were that innocent, the two of them went into the room, you see, and they sat, one sat on each side of the bed, you see, you know, they're sort of, all innocent. And the two of them, you know, looking at one another. And eventually she looks at him, she says, well, well, what? Well, where is it? He says, where's what? What's what? He says, what's what? She says, don't you come the innocent with me. She says, my friends told me on my wedding night you'd be giving me what's what. She says, I haven't got it. As a matter of fact, it's the first I ever heard of it, he said. She says, you must have it. He says, I swear I never heard of it. She says, maybe your mother put it in your suitcase. So they opened his suitcase and they rooted around, they couldn't find it. Now, bear in mind, they didn't know what it looked like. So then he says, maybe they put it in your suitcase for the crack. So they searched her suitcase and they couldn't. And they said, maybe her friends had it in the room somewhere. So the two of them started to search the room, but just they emptied the bed upside down, they took the wallpaper off the wall, skirting boards, everything, chest of drawers, wardrobe, everything. And they were at it for an hour and a half, carpet and everything up. Could find nothing. And eventually they were back to the two sides of the bed again. The sweat running off them, and she says, well, there's nothing else for it, I might as well go to bed. He says, well, thank God, for I'm tired. And the next he threw off the shirt and threw off the vest. He dropped the trousers, dropped the drawers, and she looked over, she says, what's that? He says, what's what? She says, you had it the whole time. God.